All right, just to start off, recap the Alabama game. Tough loss versus an excellent football team. Certainly credit goes to Coach Saban, his staff, and their players. There's a reason why they're ranked number one this year and have consistently performed at an extremely high level for an extended period of time. We knew the margin of error would be incredibly small going into the game. We needed to win the explosive play battle, the turnover battle, and play great situational football. We didn't. We only had 3 offensive explosives. We limited them and met our goal there, but didn't win it as a team. We were 2-1 on the turnover ratio, so we did win that. Did not do a good job on third down offensively. We were pretty good defensively. Certainly 1 of 12 is not going to help you extend drives and put points on the board and put the ball in the end zone. And then, red zone, we were 0-1 offensively and 3 for 4 touchdowns allowed defensively. And then another indicator we look at is a penalty margin. We had 7 for 50, and they were assessed 0 penalties for 0 yards. They had 1 on a kick out of bounds, but that kind of takes care of itself. Certainly we had a lack of precision and execution in all those areas, performance indicators across the board, and that wasn't good enough to beat a team of Alabama's caliber. Defensively, I thought we fought our tails off, did our best, and Coach Hoop likes to use the term to defend every blade of grass. Thought we settled in after the first 2 drives, gave up roughly 150 yards and 3 points in the second half. And, I think that's indicative of the type of defense that we've been playing throughout the season, particularly against a team that was averaging over 50 points and, close to 600 yards a game. And I think I was most proud of our guys in that last series on the goal line stand with the game really decided at that point. I thought our kids showed a tremendous amount of pride and fight to come out of there and hold them out of the end zone on that last drive. Offensively, it was obviously an inconsistent performance coming off 2 of our best games of the season. First and foremost, it's my job to make sure that we're putting players in position to be successful with the game plan and the calls. And secondly, across the board, I don't think there's any position group who's pleased with our performance against a defense of that caliber. Special teams, I think we saw improvement in our punting and our punt coverage. We were definitely more consistent in that area. And obviously the missed field goal there at the end of the half and the fumble punt, which led to points, were momentum-changing plays, once again, against a team of that caliber that aren't going to help you win the game. I think we should also use that game as a motivation for our entire program, players and coaches, of what we're chasing and what we're trying to become. And when I use the term standard right now, they are the standard, and that's who we're chasing. Okay. From a overall standpoint, there were no players of the game, no helmet stickers. Our student athlete of the week was Deion Calhoun. Okay, so moving on to Arkansas, obviously, very good football team. Chad Moore, successful stint as coordinator at Clemson and head coach at SMU. I don't think that their record right now is indicative of how they're playing. I think they're much better than their record. A multiple style kind of spread offense. Craddock is the coordinator. I think they do a good job. Story, the quarterback, mixing the run and the pass, some unconventional formations, unconventional plays, a lot of wheel routes, trying to do a good job spreading the ball around there. Defensively led by John Chavis, multiple 3-down and 4-down looks, mix of coverage, a guy who's done it at a high level for a significant amount of time. He's a very good defensive coordinator at all 3 levels. They have SEC caliber players who do an excellent job, getting to the ball and then pressuring the quarterback and playing tight coverage. And special teams, they kind of, spread it out amongst all the different groups there. So, certainly going to be a big challenge for us there moving forward with Arkansas. From an injury standpoint from us, Colin Hill, lower body day-to-day. Shamar Kilby-Lane's improving. We're expecting him to come back with another lower body. Jaquarius Landry's day-to-day. Cautiously optimistic for him for this week. And then Leo Lewis, who we talked about, was battling an illness. Certainly, expecting him to be back for this week as well. And I think that hits everyone there. All right, certainly, urge our fans to come out this weekend. A lot of festivities surrounding the game. Final home game of the year. Yesterday was Veterans Day, so thanks to all the people who served our country. We will wear special uniforms honoring World War II hero and Mississippi statesman Sonny Montgomery and recognize our veterans this weekend. We'll honor a group of 20 seniors in a ceremony prior to the game, including 11 fifth-year seniors who have left a tremendous legacy and embraced our new coaching staff. The senior class has won 30 games, and they will have gone to a bowl game in every year of their careers, all on track to graduate, and the goal is to send them out with their third 9-win season of their careers. 11 a.m. kickoff, second day game of the year, so hopefully we're getting everybody out and supporting the team on these guys' last game at Davis Wade. Certainly excited for the opportunity to pick up win number 7. Like I said, senior day, last home game, important to send these guys off on the right foot who've done so much for the program. Arkansas, like I said, playing way better than their 2-8 and 0-6 record in conference indicates, trending in the right direction when you look at some of their losses to good football teams. 24-17 to LSU this past week, 24-17 to Texas A&M, and against Ole Miss, they needed a drive at the very end to win the football game there. So we're going to need a great complete week of practice to take the field with confidence and get this thing headed back in the right direction with hopefully overall win number 7 and SEC win number 3. So with that, any questions?
Nick said after the game that they've been struggling with the clap cadence. Do you think that's in all games or just on the road? And what have you seen in how they're picking up the clap cadence and getting that right?
Yeah, we struggled with it a little bit at Kentucky. I don't think we've seen much of a issue with it, outside of the 2 plays to start the game at LSU, which it probably was the last environment that we played in. And we only utilize it on the road when crowd noise is a factor. And, I think some of the ones that were bad snaps, the clap hadn't even occurred yet. It was Elton just kind of snapping it on his own and, going against a great defensive front and, having to be, on top of it. I think there were just, I don't think it was necessarily clap related as much as it was early snap related.
Coach, Gary Green is defensive captain for you, and he's done a lot on and off the field for this program. Just talk about him and what he's done for you. You come to know about him in your first year here.
Yeah, his contribution to me to this program this year and over his time here is immeasurable. When you think of the term student athlete, he's a guy that personifies all the characteristics that you'd like to see. Excellent in the classroom, does everything right. On the field in terms of preparation and leadership, and also is a stalwart in our community service efforts. And he's a guy that you want to put who you want to be the face of your program, because he does just about everything right.
Joe, I know that after pretty much a lot of games that you guys have contact with the SEC office and things, was the conversations and I guess what was discussed with the SEC office or sent to the SEC office, was any different after the Alabama game as relates to officiating as it would be after any other game?
In terms of protocol?
Yeah, in terms of what you guys sent and did?
No, it was standard operating procedure, a list of plays that we send in and a response forthcoming, and, Mr. Cohen's kind of handling the rest of it.
Coach, along those lines, to follow up with that, what's the normal protocol for them to get back with you all, like over the year, to kind of give you explanations about what happened on certain plays?
Yeah, we get a response back midweek, roughly in that time frame.
I know Alabama was obviously really good, and
yes,
it's kind of early to do a postmortem on a season. But, in the 4 SEC losses, I think y'all scored 16 total points or something like that. Is there anything looking back you would have done differently or wish you could have squeezed something out? What do you think is the common thread other than those teams being good, obviously?
Yeah, 7-6-3 and 0 this past week, and then, in the 20s against the other 2 that we won. But, you look back on it, and I guess, probably a combination of things, and the things that you have to examine and make sure that you're doing a good job in the game planning and play calling process, and then from there making sure when the right plays are called that you've practiced those during the weeks and the kids have an opportunity to execute them. So I'd say it'd be a combination of those circumstances. Certainly, with the type of defense that we're playing, and it would obviously behoove us to perform better and put more points on the board in those games, and that's part of it probably being a first year new offensive system and things like that too probably contribute to that.
It's been a few weeks since Alec Murphy dressed out. What is kind of his status?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
he healthy?
Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. I missed. He will be back this week. We'll see how he does, and then to be determined on game day. Still lower body there.
when y'all have struggled on third down offensively, do you attribute it more to being behind the sticks and off schedule, or a third down execution issue?
Yeah, we've coming off two good third down performances there. I think we're about 40% for the year. And I'd say it's probably a combination of those factors. One, being behind the sticks with negative plays on, first and second down. And then, once you're in those situations, the pass rush that you're facing, the ability to create separation and coverage and deliver the ball, it makes it, you get in those 7+ or 11+ areas. Those are ones that statistically across the board, not just us, but most people, have difficulty converting those. So you try to stay in as many third and short, third and manageables as you can get.
You talked about, the first year transition. Sometimes that can be difficult. I know you've done that several times in your career. Was this one more difficult for any reason, or less difficult, or just different? What was kind of I guess, looking back on it, what was unique about this transition, I guess?
As it from a head coaching perspective or an offensive specifically?
Mostly from an offensive perspective.
Mostly, yeah, that's I kind of felt. I'd say probably the thing that's been the most different relative to transitions from an offensive standpoint is the different things that we're asking our guys to do in the pass game. I'd say that's probably because run game's run game. I think we're doing a pretty good job there. Have done a good job throughout the year. Outside of those 4 games, put points on the board. But I'd say probably the pass game was the area where we, needed. I say it's not the biggest area of transition.
Kind of similar to what Danny asked a minute ago about Gary Green, but Nick Fitzgerald, a senior with this program, you coming in, first-year head coach. What's he meant to you? What's it been like to coach him, I guess, as you kind of get adjusted to this and as he caps off his career?
Nick's been a pleasure to coach. He's obviously thought of very highly by his teammates. They elected him captain. So anytime that comes from your peers, to me that carries a lot of significance. He's a guy that loves football. High IQ competitor, loves the preparation aspect of it. And I'm not much into comparable numbers and things like that. But if you're looking for them as a benchmark, on pace to surpass his passing yardage total and rushing yardage total from last year. So I think that, seeing him grow, seeing him embrace the things that we're asking him to do, particularly things that are a little bit different than he's done in the past, and just how he's handled prosperity and adversity, through the good times has helped the team kind of fan that flame, so to speak, and through the tough times for us as a team, as an offense, and him personally, that he's never really gone in the tank or started pointing the finger at other people. Like all of us in this program, we want to be thumb pointers, not finger pointers. So he's kind of taken ownership of the bad games and worked to resolve the issues and improve from there.
Obviously, you guys had goals coming into this first season, and if an SEC championship was one of them, it's not attainable. But how big are these last 2 games? And if you were to get 2 victories here, and how close would that be to getting your goals, and how important would that be, for the future?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think the time for reflection will probably be after the bowl game. But certainly this is going to sound odd. There's a difference between goals and expectations. Goals are what you aspire to as a team, and expectations to me are levied based on a confluence of circumstance, for lack of a better term. And our ceiling of success is winning the SEC, getting in the playoffs, and competing for a national championship. Our floor for success is 6 wins and qualifying for a bowl game. So right now, we obviously didn't achieve the former. We've already achieved the latter, and the last 2 games will, determine if we're able to, get to, 9 wins, or, get to a good bowl game. And, like I said, I know there was an elevated expectation level heading into the season for myriad reason, and from a historical context, we're battling to get to where we've never been since 1941. So I understand the disappointment because of the expectation level, but reality is reality. And when you're building a championship program and trying to create that standard for things that have never been done, unless there's people from the 41 team around, or people who follow that team, I'll take advice from them, because they're the ones who have seen it and have done it. Outside of that, there's really not a word I'm looking for, a barometer for what it takes to win a SEC championship in Starkville.
Coach, uniform combinations are kind of in vogue these days. You come from Penn State, where I don't think they have many uniform combinations, but here you've had a lot of changes. What is your thoughts on that, and how do you feel like the players respond to having these different options?
Yep, black shoes, basic blues. We did have a throwback game against Indiana last year. It was pretty sweet. Put some numbers on the side of the helmet. But I think these uniforms are phenomenal. I mean, you look at, number one, the reasoning behind it, what it stands for, and the person that we're honoring. I think that's the most impressive thing. But, you know, kids like nice stuff, particularly in this day and age. I have 3 of them. I know they like nice, shiny things. And, you know, these uniforms are, you know, although we have different combinations, you know, they are even unique to that. So, you know, when the kids saw them, they were pretty fired up about it.
Can you describe what a military appreciation game means to you?
To me personally, you know, my dad served in the Army, so I think that would be the first thing. You know, but certainly, you know, we as a country, you know, let's see. Freedom isn't free, and we bear the fruits of democracy every day for the people who put their lives on the line to ensure our you know, the things that we're privy to in this country. So any chance we have to honor, you know, people who sacrifice to allow us to have those things, to me, is incredibly important. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Hail State.